Hey guys, SuperHorrorBro Mike here, and today we are looking at my early predictions for Bendy and the Ink Machine Chapter 4. Using the information we currently have, this video will take a look at Chapter 4 and my ideas for where the story and gameplay may be heading, giving you guys an idea of what to expect from the next installment in the Bendy franchise. But before we jump into this video, remember to subscribe and hit that bell to be notified every time a new video drops. With that said guys, let's begin this list of early predictions for Bendy Chapter 4. 1. Sammy Lawrence will return. Sammy Lawrence was the music director at Joey Drew Studios and a pivotal character during Bendy Chapter 2. It seemed odd then that his character was seemingly taken out during the final moments of this chapter after being built up so much. This led many fans, including myself, to theorise that Sammy may have used his ability to move through the inky walls of the studio to escape Bendy and actually survive. It appeared, however, Sammy did not show up in Chapter 3, which instead centred around Alice Angel. That was until a secret recording of Sammy Lawrence was discovered hidden within Chapter 3. That hints at the character's survival.
We've all been waiting, but now he will set us free.
Add to this the radio briefly glimpsed during the Chapter 4 teaser trailer and the sound of an organ playing over the final few moments of said trailer too. The organ known to be used as an instrument by Sammy in the music department during Chapter 2. With all these hints and Sammy being an iconic character within the game, it is safe to predict that we will see him make a return in Bendy Chapter 4. 2. The end of Alice Angel as a villain. Throughout Chapter 3 we saw Alice Angel portrayed as the fiery and seductive villain, however her personality seemed a little at odds as we had glimpses of a kinder and more vulnerable side.
The first time I was born from its inky womb, I was a wiggling, pussing, shapeless slug. The second time, well, it made me an angel. I will not let the demon touch me again.
I had previously theorised that this good side of Alice's split persona belongs to her original voice actress, Susie Campbell, with her bad side belonging to her successor, Alison Pendle. Now moving into Chapter 4, we know Alice has taken Boris as part of her plan to make herself perfect and recreate the original vision of her character which appeared in the Bendy cartoons. We even see this image of Boris tied up at the end of Chapter 3 when taking the angel path, and what looks like Boris's body tied down to a machine behind Alice in the latest Chapter 4 trailer. So we need to rescue Boris in Chapter 4. With all this information in mind, my theory is that Chapter 4 will see the end of Alice as a villain, either because she will stay bad and we will end up fighting her as part of a boss encounter, or because her good side will win out and she will join Henry as an ally in the final chapter of the game. Either way, Alice will no longer be a threat after Chapter 4. She will either join Henry or fall trying to defeat him, perhaps even to Bendy himself. The reason for this falls completely to the narrative. It would be too much to focus on both Bendy and Alice as threats to Henry in Chapter 5, and so Chapter 4 is where Alice's story ends one way or another. 3. Less Bendy. Following on from my last point, I firmly believe Chapter 4 will feature far less of the central antagonist Bendy. Why? Mainly because I feel Chapter 4 will be Alice's chapter and close out her story arc. Also because Chapter 3 features so much of Bendy, who appeared at random throughout, so it makes sense to pair his appearances back in the following chapter. Lastly, if we are to believe that this next chapter is to be more inky than ever before, as hinted at by the final frame of Chapter 3 and the teaser trailer for Chapter 4, then Henry's movement would be severely slowed down, meaning from a gameplay perspective, it would actually be impossible to outrun Bendy much of the time. All this points to a far smaller amount of Bendy encounters in Chapter 4 before ramping him back up to feature front and centre in the game's grand finale for Chapter 5. 4. The cages are important. We've seen the cages suspended over Alice in the Chapter 4 teaser trailer, and I believe these are more than simply creepy window dressing. My theory is that these cages will actually play a big role in the upcoming chapter. How? Well, these cages may well contain prisoners taken captive by Alice, and I believe it will be Henry's job to free them, so finding keys to unlock cages is likely to be a big part of the gameplay loop to feature in this upcoming chapter. What will be the end result of freeing these captives? Potentially to take power away from Alice, but also to build an army of people or creatures willing to take the fight to Alice directly, or to aid Henry in stopping the ritual itself. 5. The Ink Machine Explained. We've seen the Ink Machine, and in Chapter 3 we discovered there is at least one other machine within Joey Drew Studios. While we all have our theories about how these machines work, no one knows for sure. During Chapter 3 we saw Henry collecting parts for Alice, and some have speculated that this could be so Alice may build her own variation of the Ink Machine in her quest to become perfect. I actually believe that the machine Alice is building may be something else entirely, a machine which could extract the souls of her captives and place them into her own body. I actually think we see evidence of this in the Chapter 4 trailer itself. With that said, and this being the penultimate chapter in the Bendy franchise, I do expect us to finally get some answers about the Ink Machine and a reveal explaining exactly what its purpose is, clearing a path for Chapter 5 to wrap up the story. 6. The Fate of Boris. At the end of Chapter 3, Boris was captured by Alice Angel after she proclaimed he was perfect and she needed him. We see Boris tied up shortly afterwards, and it appears he is strapped down to a strange machine that seems to be running in the Chapter 4 teaser. There are two ways this can end. Either Boris will be consumed by Alice in her attempts to become perfect, or Henry will help him escape. I actually believe Boris won't make it to see Chapter 5. Why? Well, I see a likely scenario where Alice ends up consuming Boris's soul, and in doing so his kind demeanour helps Alice's good side, aka Susie Campbell, conquer her bad side, making Alice Henry's ally in Chapter 5 in place of Boris. So we will likely not save Boris, but his sacrifice will allow Alice to make the transition from bad to good, and enable her to help Henry and finally take down Bendy in the final chapter of the game. Sorry Boris fans. And that's it for today's video guys, I hope you did enjoy it, and if you did, remember to give it a like and subscribe for more horror related content, including theories, analysis and let's play videos, and I will see you on the next one.